Hi, welcome to this video by Creating a Family. I'm Dawn Davenport. I'm the Executive Director of Creating a Family, and today we're going to be talking about how to prepare an adoptive parent profile, also known as a Dear Mother letter. First of all, let me refer you to our June 16th, 2010 Creating a Family radio show, where we talked about this topic for an hour. Obviously, we went into a great deal more detail in that show. So you can find that at our website on the radio page, and the website is creatingafamily.org. Well, first of all, let's start by talking about what is an adoptive parent profile. As I said before, in the past it was more often called a Dear Birthmother or Dear Birth Parent letter. Now it could be called an adoption profile or adoptive parent profile. Basically, it's your way of showcasing who you are to an expectant woman or an expectant couple that might be considering an adoption plan for their child. You're wanting to let them know who you are and, what most important, what type of parent you would be. I hear from a lot of prospective adoptive parents who hate the idea of marketing themselves or selling themselves in this way, and often they're concerned that the product they're selling themselves won't somehow measure up, won't be as competitive. And you probably have heard this analogy before, but this process of matching between a prospective adoptive family and a prospective birth mother is a lot like blind dating, with all the pains and perils and promise associated with that procedure. Don't try to automatically assume that you know what a birth mother or an expectant woman is looking for, and then try to sell yourself to fit that image, because you don't really know. An expectant woman is trying to make a connection with a couple or a single that she wants to parent her child, and you can't really anticipate what it is she's going to be looking for. So you've probably heard this said before, but truly the best approach is to be yourself. Sure, it's okay to be your best self, to put your best foot forward. That's fine. Of course, that's to be she's going to expect that. But don't try to fake being something that you think she's going to want that really isn't you. So let's talk about the details. What should be included in the Dear Birthmother letter? Again, she's going to be trying to imagine her child being raised, and quite frankly, probably she's going to be trying to imagine herself being raised by this couple. In your profile, you're going to want to describe, paint a picture. Let me give you an example. Every profile, and remember, she's going to be seeing a number of these profiles. Every profile is going to say they live in a nice neighborhood. That doesn't really say very much, so you want to give a lot more detail. For example, if your neighborhood is the hot place to go for trick-or-treat, and everybody, the whole neighborhood comes out, and they fix hot cider or whatever, describe that. It gets the feel of a community and a child-friendly community. If your neighborhood has an annual picnic over the 4th of July where they sit out and watch fireworks, describe that. Let that be your description. Tell the story, not just saying a nice neighborhood. Obviously, you're going to be including information on both the prospective mom and the prospective dad, and of course any other children and pets and stuff that are in the family. But you're going to, one nice idea is to have the dad describe the mom and why he fell in love with her and the qualities that he admires in her and why he thinks she'll be a great mom. And then the mom does the same for the dad. If your extended family will be very involved in this child's life, by all means mention that. Of course, talk about your interests. If you like to travel, include pictures from your vacations, hobbies, and things like that. It's a good idea to include experiences you've had with children. Have you babysat for friends or family? Do you play the role of the best aunt in the world? That type of thing. But then that type of information you want to include. One of the questions I get asked a lot is how to deal with religion. And I get asked this question by couples that are either where religion doesn't play a big part in their life or whether it's a really big part of their life. If You are not a religious person. Don't pretend that you are. Just leave that section blank. If you consider yourself more spiritual, then you can talk about that. Talk about your faith in that context. You might want to talk about your values rather than your religion. In particular, talk about the values that are important to you that you want to pass on to the next generation of your children. So you might want to handle religion that way. If you are a very religious family, by all means include that information. You want to be careful, though, that you don't come off overbearing. You might want to tone it down. You absolutely want to include it, but you don't want to leave the impression that you're not accepting of someone whose faith is not as strong as yours. Pictures. Pictures are an absolute must for adoptive parent profiles. You're going to, one of the funny things is that so often people don't have a lot of pictures of themselves other than on vacation or at Christmas or on big family holidays, which are fine to include. But you want to have a lot of pictures to choose from, so one of the first things you're going to want to do is get your camera out, and when you're out doing things, ask people to take pictures of you as a couple, and then of course each of you take pictures of each other. Oftentimes one person is the one who takes most of the pictures. You're going to want to have a lot of pictures of both the husband and the wife to pick from. Not that you're going to be including them all, but you do want them to pick from. So start doing that immediately. Focus on action shots rather than passive shots, and candid pictures rather than pose pictures. 1 or 2 pose pictures is fine, but for the most part, you want some action. Let me give you an example. You have a dog that you love, and you've mentioned that, but a picture paints 1,000 words. And so what you want to do is show your picture of yourself romping or rolling or tussling with your dog. If your dog is one of those wet, sloppy kissers, you might want to get a picture of her planting a wet one right on your cheek or something. Picture of the dog licking an ice cream cone, if that's something that you would normally do. Those are the type of things that you would want to capture in pictures. Another thing you absolutely must have is an action-packed caption for each picture. Mainly you just want a caption for each picture. The captions are as important as the text you include. Your pictures need to be large enough. It was better. A lot of people try to pack a lot of pictures in by shrinking the pictures. That's a mistake. Keep the pictures large and go with fewer of them. And of course, pay particular attention to the picture that's going to go on the cover. Your adoption agency or professional can give you suggestions, but usually I recommend that be a shot of the couple, and a couple with the family if you have a child or a dog or a cat or whatever. Be careful with cats. They're not always photogenic. They're not always relaxed in front of the camera, and they can sometimes come off looking like they're being strangled or forced to be in the picture, so you may have to avoid those shots. Your formats are almost unlimited now. Of course, you've got paper, you've got video, you've got websites. You can either use one of the parent profile websites or your agency site or both, and that's what I'm going to recommend. Get your profile out to all sources you can. So absolutely use all of the above. For your paper, you've got, you can create a folder, you can create a scrapbook, you can create, actually now it's inexpensive, and most CVS's or any other pharmacies, or certainly Snapfish online or anything like that, has the ability to create actually a hardcover book. By all means, go ahead and do that. It's harder to change, so I wouldn't kill yourself, but if it's easy, or it is easy, you might as well go ahead and do that. But the main thing is to get your profile out to as many people and as many places as you can. Make sure you tell all of your family and friends about its availability. Send out the link if it's online. Tell your clergy, tell your obstetrician, tell anyone, your gynecologist, tell anyone you know that may come in contact with an expectant woman. Again, go to our site. We have a page on preparing an adoptive parent profile where we include the top 10 tips for preparing a profile. We also have a link to our hints for singles who are preparing an adoptive parent profile. I wish you the very best of luck. Thanks for joining us. Bye.